So I've been reflecting recently after a lot of comments that I've seen on this channel over the past few videos, and that's that a lot of people in their 40s seem to feel that they're quite stuck at the moment. And I think for a lot of those people, everything looks fine from the outside, but for some reason they're still feeling stuck. And I don't think that's because we've been unsuccessful, lazy, or whatever. But I think what it actually comes from is the fact that we're all now kind of living a life that we ultimately designed for ourselves 10, 20 years ago. And while externally sort of nothing's changed, internally we're actually completely different people to who we were 20 years ago. So if you're new here, my name's Carl. I'm rebuilding my life after losing my job at 46. And on this channel, I talk about what it is to kind of start again, how to build that next chapter, and try and honestly sort of document the journey. So let's go back over the past 10, 20 years. Now you think about yourself back then, what were you doing? Well, you kind of left school. Some people might have gone to uni, some people might have gone straight into the workforce. And then your 20s is kind of spent, let's be honest, partying, having fun, and building that career. And then we get into our 30s. By that point, we've probably kind of met someone. We look at sort of maybe buying a house, maybe we get married. And then normally at some point, kids come along and you continue sort of working hard to kind of climb the ladder and get the nice things in life. And everything then is sort of kind of, let's be honest, there's milestone after milestone, I'd say, at that sort of point in life. And it's very kind of hustle, work harder, climb the ladder, get more things. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I think at that point in life, you are kind of trying to set yourself up for the future. And that's what you kind of taught from quite a young age. And then I think, certainly from what people I've sort of spoken to, we get to a point in our 40s where things start to feel a little bit off. And it's when you sort of sit down and look at it a little bit, you notice that your priorities have changed quite a lot. That need for many of us to kind of climb the sort of career ladder sort of dwindles a bit. Maybe you've kind of been looked over once or twice, or you've been maybe done it a few times, and you kind of see through the veil that actually you could put all the effort in only to be sort of shafted at the end of it all. And I also think our energy changes and our whole perspective on life kind of changes. We value time a lot more. I don't know if you're like me, certainly the sort of days and the weeks and the years seem to fly by a lot quicker than they did when I was younger. And ultimately, I think success or fulfillment starts to mean something a lot different to most of us. And what's weird, I think, is that externally, nothing looks any different. Okay, you may look a little bit older, but it's the shift probably more internal. And the bigger the sort of gap between where you are and kind of what you feel like where you need to be, the more sort of discomfort you may sort of feel. Maybe it's kind of worrying less about status and caring more about balance. Maybe it's kind of wanting meaning, not just money, wanting time and energy back. And as that clock keeps ticking, I think we end up asking what's actually important to us, what actually really matters to us in our life. So I think that stuck feeling comes from when the life is more out of a misalignment than a whole I hate my life. And don't get me wrong, there were people on the extreme side of that. But it comes from things like being always busy, always doing things, never know time to stop, just following routines and living life on autopilot. And I think it starts to show when we start to feel kind of continually tired, low energy, and then maybe start to feel quite disengaged with things. And I think what that creates is, one, we never get time to stop and question, are we living the life we want? And two, we don't realize we're stuck because everything from the outside looks fantastic. We've got a house, nice family, nice car, but something still feels a little bit off. Now, as a bloke, we are the worst at this. If something feels a little bit off, we don't tend to sort of question what it is. What we tend to do instead is try and bury it. And we'll do this by distracting ourselves. So maybe we'll throw ourselves at our work or a hobby. Maybe we'll start drinking more than we should, kind of distract ourselves from life. Or maybe it is the flash sports car you go out and buy or something like that in a full-on midlife crisis, whatever it may be. But instead of sort of questioning where we're at, we'd sort of rather distract ourselves. Now, just to be very clear, this isn't about going and blowing up your life. This isn't anti-work. This isn't about losing ambition or giving up your job. It's just about becoming aware of where you're at, and probably for a little while taking this sort of life off autopilot and trying to live with a bit more intention with the stuff that you're actually doing day to day. And I think for a lot of people, it's not about a whole new life. It's actually just about reconnecting to stuff that actually makes you feel like you again, to the person you are now, not the person you were 20 years ago. It's about sitting down and asking yourself, what's actually important to you now? What's the stuff that actually makes you happy? What makes you fulfilled? How do you want to spend your sort of time, energy, and focus? Where do you want your life to go in the next 10 years? You know, I think it'd be easy that we sort of think that the last sort of the good years are behind us. But the truth is, hopefully in our mid-40s, we've got another good at least 20, 30 years ahead of us, all being well. What do you want it to look like? Because that also gives a little bit of direction and purpose again when we start asking those questions and start designing something that we actually want to be part of. And by that, how do you want your relationships to be over the next 10 years? Who do you want to reconnect with? Are you a bloke, which I know a lot of blokes are guilty of this, are you sitting there lonely because you haven't got a massive friendship group anymore? Can you sort of reconnect with those mates? If you're single, do you go out again and look at maybe finding a partner? Don't have to, but potentially it's something you want to do. But it's getting clear on actually what you want. And most importantly, how you spend your sort of time and how you want to, and what you want to be doing for the next 10 years. So what that looks like for me, well, where this has been really helpful for me is because of the lack of job, I've obviously had time the past month or so, and that's given me time to reflect. So I've been looking at things about, you know, okay, things aren't great right now, but let's say stuff starts to sort itself out. What do I want from the next kind of 10 years? I think the answer to that is I want a job that gives me balance. I kind of want to get off the kind of consumer debt thing. I'm fed up of trying to keep up the Joneses. I'd rather have an old phone and an older car than working hours extra. I've realised my health is kind of taken a battering over the past 5 years, and that's something I'm sorting out. I try to get out for walks every day now whilst I can, and I'm still not drinking at the moment. And I've spoken about it in a previous video. And I've just spent a lot more time looking at my life intentionally, all my sort of routines and habits, and asking myself what kind of needs to stay, what needs to go, and what needs to start, so that hopefully the next kind of 20 to 30 years are some of the best, and not the kind of sort of just the wind down stagnant piece that sort of a lot of us worry about in our 40s. And as I've been building that kind of vision for the next couple of years, actually I kind of got engaged again a bit more excited about life. I'm sort of challenging what I'm doing today. Does it align with what I want tomorrow? And that has really helped. And even when the sort of the stability of a job and stuff isn't there right now, it gives me something to sort of hold on to, and it's been really important the past couple of months. So there we go. And to summarize, really the point is, if you are feeling kind of a bit off at the moment and a bit kind of stuck, just take some time, go and have a coffee, whatever, and just ask yourself, is the life you're kind of leading right now, all the sort of daily routines and habit, aligning with the person you are right now? And if you don't know who you are right now, just ask yourself, what do you want from life? And then really then, as I say, it's just about connecting the two, making sure who you are now aligns with what you do day in, day out. And if you're a busy parent, don't get me wrong, that's not as easy as kind of someone that's got no kids or the kids are grown up, but there's still stuff you can do. And I think it's really helpful. And I think the more you can do to align your day to day with who you want to be, the more fulfilled you start to feel day in, day out, even when things kind of go a bit Pete Tong with things like work and stuff like that. So what about you? How do you feel at the moment? Do you feel kind of your day to day aligns with where you are right now and where you want to be? Or do you think you need to kind of make a bit of a change? As always, let us know in the comments. I say I'll always try and respond. I'll wind it up there. This is, I think, might be a bit of a quick video. We'll wait and see. As always, please like the video. It massively helps me. Please comment below. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe if you find this helpful. And I'll see you on the next one. Cheers for now.